This video is sponsored by CA3D Studios. FullMetal Alchemist might arguably be one of the greatest anime of all time. Just make sure you watch the one labeled with Brotherhood. So today, I'm going to paint one of the 7 deadly sins from the show, one of the Homunculus, Lust. This model is sculpted by none other than the sponsor of this video, CA3D. CA3D is a Patreon membership for 3D printing enthusiasts like me and you, where every month they release 8 models for 3D printing. They are known for their high quality STL files and also amazing value. For $20 a month on their VIP tier, you get the current month's release and also the previous month's models. That's 16 models for $1.25 each. Lust was part of March's release, alongside this beautiful Princess Mononoke. 2 other of my favorites are the Darth Vader diorama and this badass Ninja Turtle diorama. For April, we get this amazing Morrigan from Darkstalkers and even the Evil Queen from Disney. They even made Goku from Dragon Ball and Shani from Dune. With such a vast variety of models, there really is something for everyone. Go check out CA3D's Patreon page, link in the description below. Thank you CA3D for sponsoring this video, and now, let's get back to painting. While I'm priming the model, I'm also formulating a plan on how to paint this figure. Looking at her reference pictures, she's actually really pale. So what's important for me is to give her a light skin tone without it looking lifeless. So here's my plan. First, I'll use the same method of how I paint skin, but with a different color palette. Second, her dress is all black, and because her muscles are very defined in her dress, I want it to look kinda see-through, like the fabric is stretching and we can see a bit of skin. Not sure how I'll do that, but I'll figure it out. Third, her main weapon are her claws. I want it to look sharp, so I'll be adding some gloss varnish just on her fingers. And as for the base, the most important part is the pool of blood. I want it to look very vibrant and wet. Now, let's paint. I'm first gonna zenithal highlight the blood part of the base with some white ink, because this is the easiest and nicest way to quickly paint the base. Then, I'm gonna use some red contrast paint and repeat the same thing until it has good coverage. I just really enjoy using contrast paints over a zenithal highlight. The final step is to use some gloss varnish to achieve the wet and shiny look. Now that we're done with the base, let's start with the skin tone. Instead of the usual pink, I'm going with purple as the base layer. I think the darker look will go better with her pale skin. With the first layer of the skin tone applied, I switched to her dress, thinking this color will help me achieve the see-through look I'm going for. After some spraying around, it really didn't do what I had in my mind, but I think I know what's the problem, and I'll fix that after I finish her skin tones. The next step is to airbrush some shading on her skin, but rather than the red like usual, I'm going with a magenta. So really the main idea is to turn all the pink and red colors that I use into more purplish colors. Then I just follow the same method that I always use, but with lighter skin colors. The trickiest part for me is the final highlights. I really try to go slow on this part because if you spray too much, it just ruins the whole thing. I try to really focus on the highest parts like the top of the breast and the shoulders. With that, we're pretty much done with the skin tone, so time to go back to the dress. So the problem with this isn't the method that I used, but the color I used. Like, you know how the fishnet stockings make the skin look darker underneath? That's where the problem is. So I switched to a more tanned skin color and tried it again. Now, in my opinion, this looks much better and closer to what I had in my mind. But the dress is starting to look too light because of the overspray. But don't worry, we can fix that. To make everything dark again, we're gonna use some black ink. I'm just trying to tone everything back down and make sure I airbrush from a lower angle and only aim for the shadows and the crevasses. What do you guys think? Did I achieve the look I was going for? Going back to her portrait, this model has pretty small eyes even at 1/6 scale, but I'll still try to do my best and add as many details as I can. Highlighting the lower eyelids and painting in the tear ducts really gives the model a different feel. I always position the center of the iris and then build it up from there. I usually like to add more highlights into the eyes, but with the expression she's making, it just won't be possible at this size. For her lipstick, I'll be using the same color I did for the base to create more harmony with the figure as a whole. For the shine of the eye, I used to use gloss varnish to achieve that effect, but someone in the comments told me to try using UV resin instead. Since I had some lying around, I'm gonna give it a try. Just make sure to cure it properly with a UV light. For those of you who's familiar with the character, you know she has the Ouroboros tattoo. For that, I'll be using my Xtool F1 laser engraver. The F1 is a great little laser, and I've went more in depth about its functionality on my last video. If you're interested, go watch it after watching this one. I'll leave a link in the description. I was worried at first since the tattoo was so small, but the laser really did a great job. Now, I'm just gonna go over it with some dark red, just like in the anime. To paint the red patterns on her gloves, make sure you put an off-white base layer first, then go over it with a red. The white will really help with the vibrancy of the red. For her claws, I'll use a gloss varnish to really give it a sharp look that it needs. Time for my favorite part of the video. I want to first shout out my newest Patreon member, the Asian himself. I love your username, dude. If you've liked the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I also just launched my newsletter, The Tiny 3D Room. In the email, I give you a roundup of my favorite STL releases of the month. I showcase a wide variety of models from different creators. Make sure to go have a look, and you can find the link in the description below. Now, let's finish putting her together and head to the final glamour shots.
Protect me from you, my thief. It's getting later and it's harder to leave. I'm trying to heal, I'm trying to mend. Someone please come to my defense.